Hello, welcome back to the studio. I am painting this wave today, and this is something I've never done before with the lighting like this. I've painted lots of ocean scenes, but this one, Mike and B asked that I would show the sunlight showing through the top of this wave. And so what I've done is made the area behind this wave darker. This is a mix of ultramarine blue plus my mud, which is 2 parts of ultramarine blue plus 1 part of alizarin crimson, and I've added white into that. Now if you noticed on the ocean, the colors as they go back get more muted. This is my ultramarine blue plus mud plus white. Now here in this area where the ocean, where it gets shallower around these rocks, I've added a little phthalo blue plus white just into this area to indicate that shallowness. As the sun goes through the water and hits the sand underneath it, the yellow of the sand, the basic creamy yellow of the sand, and the blue of the water, it turns the water more green. The rocks in the distance are cooler, have more blues in the mixtures, which are mud plus cadmium orange plus a tiny little bit of cadmium yellow medium plus white, and then I've added extra ultramarine blue into that, and I've added white. So these rocks are all that mixture. These are the same colors but more of the oranges and the cadmium yellow medium, because cool colors go back, warm colors come forward. So, and I still have more work to do on these rocks, but these are in shadow here because of the waves. Throw them into shadow. My light is coming in from the left. So I'm going to start working on this wave. Now at the bottom of the wave it's going to be darker. The water's wider as it comes up to the top of the wave. It gets narrower, so the sun shines through that water and makes it lighter. So this is a mixture of phthalo turquoise blue plus white. And this gives me that nice pretty color at the top of the wave. And then we'll have some foam coming over on this side. This will get a little bit darker right there. And I have reference pictures. We've taken lots of pictures of waves and stuff. We used to live in Pacific Grove, and it's just beautiful. And we lived right on the water, so we took lots and lots of pictures of waves. We were very, very blessed to be able to live there for a while. Now as we come down the wave, it gets a little bit darker. Now this is a bright brush. It's got a square end, and you can see how I can just use this flat surface to make a big broad stroke, or I can use the corner of the brush to make a smaller stroke. I really like these brushes. They're just, for me, very versatile, and I really like them. So now this down in here is I've added more phthalo blue into that mixture, or I've added some phthalo blue into that mixture, and then this mixture actually is my phthalo blue plus ultramarine blue plus white. So it gets darker as we come down. So the base of the wave is really dark once we get down here. Now, clean my brush out. You see a lot of paintings in Hawaii with this light through the top of the wave. I've never tried to do it before, but this is fun. This is really the cool thing about doing commissions or collaborations, as we like to call them, is I end up painting things that I don't normally do. And the water's not smooth. There's foam, there's little pieces of seaweed and stuff in the water, kelp. It's not totally a smooth transition. But as we come down, we start getting darker. I work around this frond of the big bird of paradise that's coming over here. Now come back and see that little the way that little brush made that stripe in there. I like that. We call that a happy accident. So I want to keep that. So I just clean my brush out, wipe it out. I use a lot of toilet tissue. And then I just pull my brush down. And that gives me that transition. You can bring a little darker strokes in here. And that also gives the feel of that. The water in a wave pulls out and then it comes over. So the surf pulls out and then comes back over. So that's the feel I want to get on this. So you get that. In fact, I can just pull that motion with my brush and you get that feel. And then up here under the surf, under this edge, you get just a little tiny shadow. And then it's also going to be lighter right in here underneath this part. And then we've got this darker area down here. And then the water gets really foamy. I have my reference material on the tabaret to the right of my easel, and so I can just pull up my different pictures I've got. I'm using 5 or 6 different pictures as reference here. This water then gets foamy. Now this is my mixture of ultramarine blue plus white plus a little bit of mud in it. This is still in the shadow of the wave. Just get a little more light right in the top of the wave here. And I want to pull it down with that same motion. There we go. Now, for my surf on the foam, get some white here and make this mix. Clean my brush out. I want to change pictures. Let me look here. Get my picture done. There we are. Now the foam, this foam kind of comes over, and the wind, as the wave comes over, it's like a horse's mane. The wind blows the surf back. So actually, you can, I love the way those little strokes do, because that gives the feeling of motion of that wave coming over. And the sun catches this. Again, you've got a little bit dark just right up in here. And the tops of these waves, they're not even and smooth. They kind of dip and dance, and it's just... Jack and I spent a lot of time just sitting down on the rocks watching waves. So much of painting is just observing. Really studying. So funny, we'd go down and eat our lunch down on the water and take our sandwiches down there. And one day we were sitting there looking at the waves and kind of analyzing them and everything. And all of a sudden this seagull just swooped down and took the sandwich right out of my hand. I mean, I didn't get much of that sandwich. But that's just one of the fun things of being out in nature. Now as the wave comes over, it's in shadow. And again, this comes down and it comes in front of those rocks. So I want to, again, first I'm going to do this one in back of this, because this is more in shadow back here. So this part of the wave is in shadow. And it's coming around those rocks. And see how I pull my brush in the direction of the, I guess it's opposite the direction of the wave. I pull it in the way that I want the foam to fly back, because that gives that feeling of action. Let me get some more white paint out here. A little more, mix a little more color here. I didn't have quite enough. And this is going to also be more in shadow. These rocks are going to be catching the light, so I want this wave back here where the surf comes over is in shadow. I'm going to let this, I have a little break in those waves and let the darker water come in behind. Because I want the light to really hit this outcropping of rocks there. So we'll just kind of let that area be real soft. So again, those soft edges fall back, and then the hard, warm edge of that rock will come forward. Now I want this to be back, I want this area to be pretty dark back here, so that the light really shines through the top of that wave. Now let's look at my reference material just a little bit closer here. Okay. Again, this water back, or this surf back here, I don't want as bright. But you can still see I pull it back with that motion. And I just am holding my brush very lightly. I don't want to dig it down. I want it to go light so I get those nice little feathered edges, because that gives the feeling of that surf. And the surf isn't smooth. I mean, it has bounces and bumps. Okay, now this part is really hitting, the sun is hitting it. And again, the sun's coming from the left, so it's hitting, this part is, again, is in shadow, it's more in shadow. And then this little edge catches a little light right here that's coming over the wave. This leading edge of that is kind of bubbles up. And we get our pull that. We want to get the feel of that motion, the wave coming over. And it's just, it takes some doing. And it's done just, again, it's not one big smooth expanse. It's the you know, there's texture, I guess is a word for it, but it comes over, it's bouncy. Really, you know, particularly when the ocean is rough, then the surf and everything is rough. Okay, we want this to be, I want that to dip down there. So I'm going to bring my dark back from the background. And see, I can pull that into there, and that also softens that just a little bit. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So bring this. Now I've got that too dark up higher, because I want that to go back. It's just a matter of working back and forth. Also don't want that little dip in there, so I can just, this is still wet here in the background. There we go. And then I want this to dip down in there. There we are. I'm not quite happy with that. Let's try something else here. Okay, get a pretty good batch of paint on my brush. Let's just pull it right here. There we go. Yeah, that's really come over. Now I want to do that same thing right here. There we are. So we get the feel of that's really just a lot of action there. We want the viewer to just look at this painting and can be able to hear those waves, feel that surf crashing. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bring a clean brush, bring some of that rock color down in there. Now I actually got some of the color on my brush. There we go. And let me look at another picture I've got here. Okay. Now there's usually a little bit of foam just kind of coming down in front of those rocks. There we go. So that is how I paint the waves. I have a little bit here crashing up against the base of this rock. It's going to be a little bit brighter right here. So that's how I paint the waves. I really appreciate you watching my YouTube videos. Please go to my blog. The link is in the description below. You can just click on that and go to the blog, or you can go to the addresses on the final frame of my video. And there I show the complete step-by-step of this entire painting process. So you can subscribe to my blog, you can subscribe to my YouTube videos, and just feel free to ask questions in the comments section. And I just thank you again so much for following along. And you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Today is a great day to just have a great day. So take care and please be safe.